My name is Jules, and I'm a junior at Port Townsend High School.
And my name is Annika, and I am a junior at Port Townsend High School, and we are talking about how climate change affects biodiversity.
My name is Liana Coons, and I'm also part of Port Townsend High School. I'm a junior, and today I will be talking about diseases and climate change.
Hi, my name is Ashley Rosser, and I'm a junior at Port Townsend High School, and I will be talking about global temperature rise.
My name is Aquia McDaniels, and I'm a junior here at Port Townsend High School, and I will be presenting global dimming.
Climate change has been affecting biodiversity in complex and unpredictable ways. As a result of climate change, species worldwide are losing their habitat.
For example, algae, which forms 25% of the Arctic Ocean's primary food source for birds, fish, and other marine mammals, will be affected by rising temperatures.
The main issues involving climate change are the warming that forces species to migrate to higher latitudes and higher elevations where the temperatures are more survivable. An example of this is in early spring, where northeastern birds are migrating 13 days sooner in the south than they did a century ago due to rising temperatures. This puts a great shift in the food chain. Global climate change will erode genetic diversity and destabilize food ecosystems in crops and agriculture.
Diseases are popping up in places where scientists haven't seen them before. They're showing more research that certain viruses such as cholera, Ebola, Lyme disease, yellow fever, and bird flu will rise. We are a small town in Port Townsend, and to have a huge outbreak would just wipe out the population completely, and it would attract deadly viruses very fast and spread quickly. I was looking on the Center for Disease Control website, and they were talking about the different effects of climate change, and some of them included air pollution, which would cause asthma and cardiovascular disease. Severe weather would cause injuries, fatalities, and mental health impacts. And also extreme heat could relate to death and cardiovascular failure.
The main issue of this is that our Earth's temperature is growing warmer, which causes sea levels to rise, ice sheets to melt, and this will put both animals and humans in danger. Glaciers are now melting twice as fast as they did 20 to 25 years ago. This is important locally because the beautiful town where I live, Port Townsend, will lose its beautiful and historic downtown. This is also important nationally and worldwide. In a probable scenario for climate change, New Orleans will no longer exist. Neither will Atlantic City, New Jersey, or Boston. There would be more extreme weather, such as hurricanes, mudslides, and earthquakes, resulting in the death of millions.
Global dimming is the decrease of solar radiation that actually reaches the Earth. Now, while this may seem like a good thing because solar radiation sounds a little negative, the solar radiation that reaches the Earth provides the energy that all of the plants and the animals need to produce and continue life. Global dimming is caused by a few things that all relate to the same source, and that has to do with carbon dioxide, and the sources that produce an excess amount in our atmosphere. The accumulation of these dangerous particles creates clouds in our atmosphere. These clouds are heavier than usual, and they reflect back a dangerous amount of solar radiation into space. So while global dimming is an aspect of climate awareness that tends to be ignored, it actually needs to be brought to the forefront.
So for a lab, we use mealworms as the investigation, and we put them in 3 different climates, one in the freezer to show the very cold, and then we put one in the warmer and one just at room temperature. And we found that the warmer climate matured faster than all the other ones. And this relates to how infectious diseases would react to a warmer climate. If you put disease into a warmer climate, it will reproduce and mature much faster than if you were in a regular or cold climate.
A group of students conducted an experiment where they took 2 controlled environments to see how the lack of solar radiation actually impacts plants. Over a 3-day period, one chamber was covered with 3 layers of mesh and put under the light, while the other chamber was left uncovered and received the full amount of solar radiation coming from the full spectrum lights. By the time the 3-day period had finished, the plant that was covered had produced significantly more carbon dioxide and significantly less oxygen. This proves that when plants do not receive enough solar radiation, that they are not as efficient in our system as they usually are.
Some future impacts would include potentially dead diseases where they don't belong, like I addressed earlier, and over 50,000 people will most likely die from outbreaks or of unsuspecting known viruses. And just the last 50 years, carbon dioxide level has increased from 300 parts per million to 410 parts per million. Imagine just what maybe 10 years or 20 years will look like from now.
Climate change is predicted to take place faster in the next century than at any time in the last 10,000 years. Coupled with other factors, such as continual land clearing, this could mean the extinction of species at a rate even greater than when the dinosaurs disappeared, 65 million years ago.
During the last century, 75% of crop genetic diversity has been lost. This loss of genetic diversity in plant crops and animal breeds is dangerous because it makes our food supply more vulnerable to outbreaks of pest and disease.
Things that you as the general public can do to be a fighter against climate change include recycling,
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Drive less. If you live in a big city, take public transportation. If you live in a small town, walk places.
You can also support renewable energy, such as buying LED light bulbs instead of regular light bulbs, which use 80% less energy.
Plant more trees instead of cutting them down.
Use less electricity. Use less packaging with plastic.
Make your home more energy efficient by reducing the time that you have your heaters, air conditioners, and lights on.
And also use green energy or solar energy.
Conserve water. If you're brushing your teeth, the water doesn't need to be on if you're not rinsing your toothbrush.
And most of all, what you can do is help to educate others.
getting involved in your community conservation groups,
Join a club like SFS, or just share knowledge about what you know and do a lot of research.
It may seem like today we don't have a lot of voice in our society, but we have a lot more influence than we think. You can make a difference. We can all make a difference together. This video is the culmination of what our student group has learned and the topics that we are passionate about. And now we invite you to share videos or messages with us about things that you've noticed, patterns you've observed, things you want to make the public aware about, all that has to do with climate change. There's no better time than the present. Let's make a difference and let's do it together.